Hi guys, welcome back to That Japan Life. It's Jill. I'm a Filipino living in Tokyo, Japan, and I vlog about my life here. So I have just recently finished my Pregnant in Japan series with a video of me giving birth. And so I have decided to start a new series. And this time I want to talk about your Japanese home. I think this would be very useful for those who have just moved to Japan, but also in the recent years, services such as Agoda Homes and Airbnb have been gaining popularity, and it can be quite confusing to be in a Japanese home for most foreigners, especially if you're just here for a short time. And so I think this series would be helpful for people like those as well. And so to start off that series, today we're going to do a video about how to use your Japanese washing machine. Very useful for tourists. Okay, so let's get started. First, note that depending on the brand and the model, of course, the Japanese machine that you would have at home might not be exactly the same as the one that I have at my home. And of course, the labels could be different, the buttons could be different, but I'm confident that we would still be covering the basics in this video since most machines offer the same features. In this video, we will be doing two things. First, we'll get to know the buttons and the labels that you have in your machine. And second, I will show you how I do my wash, the very easy and simple steps that I follow every time I wash my laundry, almost every time. Okay, so now let's get to know your machine. Right in front of your washing machine, there would be a control panel, just like the one shown below. Of course, as I've said, the buttons in your machine, as well as the labels, could be different, but I would introduce them to you, and in no time you would be familiar with some of the features that I have explained. Of course, the labels are in Japanese, and especially if you're a tourist, you don't really have time to get to know the kanji. So in the picture, I have just labeled them with numbers. And when I talk about them throughout this entire video, I will be using the numbers as your reference. So let's start with buttons 1 and 2. These are actually your power buttons. So button 1 is the power on, and button 2 is the power off. Now, in some machines, these two symbols could be in one button, in which case you just press that button in order to toggle between on and off. Simple enough. And then once you've turned on your machine, it doesn't mean that your wash will start automatically. That is what button 3 is for. Button 3 says start, and that is what you press in order to start your wash. Now, from the left side of the machine, you can see buttons 4 to 8. The way they work is you press the button in order to cycle through the options that are on top of them. So let's talk about button 4. So it says sui, and in some cases, in some machines, it could be suiryo. And what that means basically is the water level or water amount. Also, the water amount that you could have would depend on the machine that you have at home. The one that we have at home, there could be 23 liters, 38 liters, and 48 liters, as you can see in the picture. In most cases, once you've loaded your laundry, the machine will actually automatically weigh your load and then suggest the amount of water that should be put inside. But in case you want to change it, then you just press button 4. Moving on to button 5. Button 5 indicates the steps or the cycles of the wash. Depending on the course of wash that you will be choosing, let's talk more about that later, multiple of the choices will light up. You have 4 words on top of this button, and their translations are as follows. So the first one from the top is arai, and it means the wash cycle. And then you have susugi, which means rinse. And then you have chusui, which means to add water. And then we also have dasu, which is the draining cycle. Since you are going to be choosing a course, there's actually not a lot of need to press this button, because as I've said, it depends on the course that you are choosing, unless you really want to personalize your wash, which I do not do in my case. So I almost never press this button. Okay, now let's move on to button 6, and this could be quite a long one. So the Japanese word that you have here is course, and what this button does is it lets you cycle through the options of the course of wash that you want to do or the kind of wash that you want to do. So the top option means the standard wash. I mostly just use this, and all machines come with this course. So if you're just going to do your usual wash, choose that one. The second option is Tsukeoki. And what it is it's like intense wash. So this is the kind of option that you want to use if you have like whites that have been very dirtied, or you have clothes that are very soiled. Maybe you went camping or something like that. Next to that is you have Supido, which is the Japanese pronunciation for speed washing. And as the name suggests, then it's going to cycle through the wash quickly and also going to use half the amount of the laundry products. After that, you have the word dorai, which is dry. But do not be mistaken. It does not mean like to dry your clothes after the wash. This is actually a course that's supposed to be like dry cleaning, and the Japanese washing machine companies would recommend this course for your delicates. So far we have covered 4 types of courses, but in the case of this machine, the 2 options on top of button 7 are still options for the course. So this one, this symbol here, it's Mofu, and this is the course that you would choose if you are washing your beddings. So heavy duty kind of washing. And aside from the standard wash, honestly, this is the only other option that I usually use. And lastly, you have the drum cleaning course. So if you feel like right after every wash, there's a lot of dirt and, those dusty little things on your laundry, and so you can decide to clean your machine. And what you can do is you can actually go to like a pharmacy, a drugstore, or even a Daiso. And then you can buy products for cleaning your machine, load it in, and then choose this course. And in no time, your machine will be good as new inside. Okay, almost done. Moving on to button 7. Now, button 7 is if you want your laundry to be dry inside the machine. I honestly have never used it because I feel like it is such a waste of electric power, and I honestly do not feel like I need to use it because in Japan, even in the winter, you can comfortably hang your clothes inside the house. In fact, a lot of Japanese companies make laundry products, especially for hanging your clothes inside the house. So that's one thing that is quite popular here, and maybe that is not very common in other countries. But if you do want to try this option, then yes, you can press it. And then as you can see, there are 2 options. You have 1 and 3, and it means that the machine is going to dry it for 1 hour or 3 hours. See, that's a lot of electrical power, I think. And there is only 1 light beside it, so don't be confused. If it's a solid light, that means 1 hour. And if it's a blinking light, then it means 3 hours. So that's it for button 7. Let's move on to button 8. Button 8 is for your yoyaku or scheduled wash. Again, there are 2 options, but only 1 light. The same thing. Solid light means after 9 hours. So your wash will start 9 hours after you've scheduled it. And then the other one, if it's a blinking light, then that's 6 hours. That's it. Okay, so we have discussed all of the options that we have here and all of the buttons as well. And you might have noticed that there are 2 lights above button 8 that I did not discuss. Those are not options actually. They are just there to show like the status of the machine. So the first light is for the child lock or lid lock. So what happens, for example, if you are washing your clothes, you need to close the lid, but sometimes you forget to do it. What would happen is your machine would beep. It would be so noisy. And then that light there will light up to signal that you need to close your lid. The other one is to signal that there's some kind of imbalance inside the machine. Sometimes your load gets cut off in something inside and it gets thrown into one side of the machine and somehow the machine can't spin anymore. So the same thing, the machine will automatically beep and then this light will light up. Just open it, move your load a little bit, adjust your load a little bit, and then close the lid again, and if it was taken care of, if you were able to fix the problem, then the machine will just continue with the wash. Okay, so that's it for the buttons and the control panel. And I think hopefully you are now getting a picture of how to do your wash. But how about your laundry products? Where you're supposed to put them? So inside the machine, you will also see some labels. And if you're lucky, such as in my case, so inside the machine, there were actually labels with the English translation. So as you can see in the pictures that I will be attaching here. So there's one for the bleach dispenser, for the softener, and others. But in case your machine does not come with English translations, so let me just show you these kanjis as well, which you can use as a reference. You can pause this video and try to study the machine that you have at home, or you could also click on my blog post, which I will be linking in the description. So that would be an easier reference if you just want to scan through while you're studying your machine. So this word, senzai, means detergent, and this other word, yunansai, means softener. Okay, that's it. Congratulations. Now you know what the heck is on your washing machine, what all those words are. Now let me talk about how I wash, and it's very easy. I honestly just follow 5 steps. In fact, let me show you a video here. The lighting is not great, but I think seeing this would help you picture out how you're supposed to do your wash as well. So first thing I do is I just press the on button that you have here. Yes, that's it. And then after I've loaded my laundry, then I press the start button. I'm not sure if you can hear it from this video, but the machine would start adjusting. So it's kind of trying to measure the weight of the load. And then once that's done, water will start pouring in. And also on top of the sui button, you can see the amount of water indicated. Now, basing on that amount of water, I would add my laundry products. And then once that's done, then I simply close the lid. That's it. By the way, once your machine starts the cycle, the lid would be automatically locked and you can't open it because, of course, you have no reason to open it usually. But say you want to add some laundry in, what you would have to do is simply you need to push the start button, which also doubles as the pause button. Once you've done that, the lock will be lifted and then you can open it, add it in, and then press the start button. Of course, that's it for doing your wash, but what if it's done? So what happens if it's done is it beeps. And also the lock is lifted. And so what you do is you just open the lid and get your laundry. That's it. Easy peasy. And I don't know if it's true in all machines, but in my case, I don't need to press the off button once the wash is done. It automatically just turns off. So you might be wondering, why the heck is that button there? And the only time I ever use it is, say, I was planning to do my laundry and starting to do my laundry, but then I realized since it's going to take time, maybe I have another appointment and I realized that I don't have enough time to wait for it to finish, then I just turn it off. That's it. So hopefully you're now ready to do your laundry and that this video helped you out. I'm also planning to do a video on the laundry products because, girl, they can be confusing. So if that's something that you would want me to do, please let me know in the comments. And then I'll see you next week about another video on how to get the most of your Japanese home. Thank you so much for watching this video and please don't forget to subscribe.